Okay, so today I was going to show two new ways to create a couple different things that we can look at. So one is importing 3D models and creating your own 3D models. So these are kind of new things with the application that we're adding. And all of this stuff we're currently testing on our test website. If you are interested in that at all in testing, go ahead and just email me back and we will send that over so you can test some of this stuff. Otherwise, it will be updated to the main website within the next few weeks. So anyways, what we're going to go through today is just a deeper look into importing 3D models and creating your own 3D models. And we're also going to look at how to add some images to different types of objects. So in the past, it was kind of harder to create a sort of any shape you wanted and then add an image across all those shapes. So that would be something like maybe you have some specific type of LED shape that you want to create as your backdrop, and adding an image to that was a little difficult. So we've added a much easier way to do that now. So we'll take a look at that, and then probably a little bit on like prints, and basically just getting a few different looks that are possible now with adding images to different types of objects, whether it's semi-transparent object and backlighting, or an LED wall or a LED shape that you want images across, and other things like that. So first I'll also add two little walkthrough, click-through demos that you can click through that will show you exactly how to do these things as well. So you don't necessarily need to watch the whole video. You can just click through those real quick. And those will be on the live website eventually too, so you can just demo those when you're using the application. So first off, we're going to go to this custom tab here to find our custom objects. So to import a 3D model, you would click this little cloud icon here, and it's going to say FBX import. So this is the type of file that you would want to import, and most 3D programs will allow you to export in FBX, and we have a specific version that needs to be over. If you don't have that version, or if it tells you that the version is wrong, there are a number of easy and I think free converters out there that can convert your file real quick. So then you would just hit yes, upload, and you can find FBX files as well from other vendors' websites. So for instance, these two chairs right here are imported from from a furniture vendor's website, and this was a created 3D model that we'll talk about next. So once you've imported the FBX model, it will show up as an icon like this. You can actually change the thumbnail if you want to find a thumbnail and add that there so that you can see it easier. Otherwise, it's just going to show the file name there. And once I import it, it might show up in a different orientation like this. So I'm just going to rotate it, looks like -90 degrees. And then I just want to make sure that I know the correct size of the model. So I'm going to zoom in here. I'm going to lock the size of it and then scale it down a bit. Looks like I have these two at 2.5 there. So from there, I have my model, and then I can change the color on it. So if I select this top option here, I can change this color, or I could import a texture. I think I actually maybe have texture for this. Yeah. So I just added a texture to that, and that just imports there perfectly. And then I click on this second material slot here, and then I can change the color of the metal on there to maybe something that looks more like metal. Okay, so that is that. And then from there, if I want more of them, I can just duplicate them and add more, duplicate, and there we go. And then you can create a whole seating section like that. So anyways, play around with that to add your own 3D models. You can add quite a lot of things, but definitely feel free to test. You could export things from Vectorworks and other programs, 3D programs, and import them in. So lots of options with that. All right, so for this create option, this will allow you to add an image into the program. So you could either add an image or a URL or just type in anything that you want to be created. And it does a really good job with kind of smaller objects. If you're trying to add like a whole venue or something, it's probably not going to work as well. But I have a lot of examples of, let's say, like a chandelier or something. So if there's a specific chandelier that you really want to add in there, it does a pretty good job at just taking an image and then creating that 3D model like that. And then again, I would just scale this down and put it up on the ceiling, So we'll do a quick test here. I'll see if I can find something that might work. You can see this is like a medical device I added in there. So I would just take an image of something and then add it in there. I will see, I haven't tried this yet, but I will see if it takes my company's logo and makes it into 3D. And we'll see if it does a good job of that. So I'm going to add that in there. You can see a preview. This is just a flat logo that I added in here. You can see there's no dimension to it. So what we're going to try is to see if this will actually just create some dimension. I don't know if it will or not. We'll find out. I have had tests where it does add some dimension pretty well, so something like that. So we'll see if it does it with our logo. I think if I create model now, it will just give me a little bit of a wait, and then we can do whatever else we want to do while we wait for that. But yes, in general, I think the more complex the shape of the logo or branding is, it might have a harder time doing that, but we'll see what happens. All right, so as we can see here, it did not create the logo, but just a good test to see what happened. So it did make an E and an R. That just didn't do it very well, so we will just go ahead and delete that. But you can see it probably works better again with some kind of more basic shapes, something like this. So you can try doing something like that, just add an image to create something like that. And then general pictures of other things work really well too. So something like this. So yeah, so go ahead and just play around. I got a picnic table here too to see what you can create with that. All right, and then next we're just going to go ahead and look at doing something like this in the background where we have an image that can kind of stretch across many objects, and you can do a lot of different shapes and things like that. So we'll try to kind of just recreate this. So what I'm going to do is hide the old one, and I'll just hide some of this stuff too. Just kind of recreate this. So you're going to go to, if you have some objects like this that you create, so what I did is I just created them from some LED objects. So I think I took the curved LED panel here, and then I sort of reshaped it to be in this, to look like this. And you can adjust the image on there to maybe just be like a white image so that it's not showing anything. So I'll just do this, and I'll adjust the spill and all that to kind of make it just black or dark for the time being, depending on what you're using. So if it's an LED, you can adjust all this stuff. If I go here, let's just look at these settings in a minute, and that will allow us to kind of get the fine-tuned look that we want. So from there, once I have the shape that I want, and just for the heck of it, let's go ahead and I'll just delete those, and I'll add in a circular object, which is, let's see, there. I think I can use this cylinder object. Will have similar settings over here, and I think that'll be better to adjust. So let's rotate this 90 degrees, and then I'll make it, scale it from there. Something like this for now. We can always adjust later. All right, so from here, I'm going to go to the backdrop, or no, I'm sorry, the scenery section. And under signs, we have it right now as under signs. The first sign image right here, the little tooltip says that it's an image object and it can be used as a sign with custom PNG images you can add in there to make a sign. So I could change the image to something like this, and it'll change that way. But with this one, I can drag this out, and it's sort of an image that can go onto anything. So this is super versatile and can kind of be applied to anything. So this, I think, comes in great hand when you have a bunch of odd shapes that you just want to span an image over. So you have this little green box in front that's just called a helper box. It's basically just so that you can see where the where the image is and then move it around. So what I'm going to do is scale this thing a bit. So I'll take this off. And right now the scaling is a little like funky because of the way this thing works. So if I change the height, it's going to get wider here. You could always rotate it and change this around, but and then so what's cool about this is you can change the depth of the image. So usually there is no depth to an image, but you can see as the box gets wider or deeper or thinner, the image also gets thinner. So now what I need to do is just move this image back here, kind of in the middle, and then adjust that depth again, move it a little forward. So it takes a minute to play with it and get it the way you want. So now you can see it's kind of covering the ground here, so I just need to play with this a little bit to get it to be what I want. So I'm going to squish it a little bit like this, make it a little bit taller, and I'll just kind of fine tune it like that. And that's pretty much it. So now it's on both of those objects. And I can hide the helper box here now, so I can click on or off, and that will turn it on or off so I don't see it. And then if I select the two objects here, I can kind of change their color and that sort of thing so that we can kind of blend the image in depending on the material you're using and all that. And if I go back, if I need to find that helper box, you're going to go back into decor here and then select the image volume button. And now it's selecting it again, and I can just bring that back on. And so from here, it's cool too because I can actually change the intensity of it. So if you go all the way up, it's definitely going to look more like a an LED object. Let me make the height a little bit taller so I can, yeah. And then I'm just going to move this up. Okay. All right. So you can actually also make it look like it's a print. So now I have it all the way down, and it looks much more like it's printed onto these objects. And if you added some lighting into it, let's see. I think I have some more lights over here. Yeah. Then it's just going to light it up like it's a printed object, which is really nice too. So super versatile in how that works. Oops. So if I select that box, I can change it from really bright to more of a printed look. And then you can change the texture on it. So now I'm just going to add maybe a brighter texture. And then again, if I wanted to make it look like it's an LED, I just boost that up. And now if I move any of these objects, you can see basically anything that comes in the path of that I set this to, it will adjust, or it will add. So if I move this forward, that image then is going to be on those objects. So anyways, again, super helpful for adding one image across a lot of objects, and even, giving it depth too. So now it's just super fast to do that. Okay, cool. Hopefully that is a good example of that, and I can make plenty more videos too about this if you want to see any more. For now, I'm going to go ahead and delete this object, and we'll take a quick look at doing something else with like printed backdrop. So for creating a printed backdrop and doing it a little differently, you can just drag out a flat object like this. This is this backdrop psych object. So I'm going to move this back here. We center it, and we'll say it's sitting on something back there. And I'll adjust the height a little bit to 16 feet-ish. Okay, so we'll say it's right there. And from here, you can just add a texture again to it. It's going to show up as a printed object. I can adjust the texture as well. So it can be, if the logo's maybe squished, so I think on this one, the logo looks a little squished here, so I can stretch the texture there. I can move the texture if I need to. And then from there, I believe we can also adjust the, it's not actually making it more intense, it's just brightening up the actual image, if you will, on this object. So you can do that. At 0 intensity, it's going to be basically without any additional brightness. So that's kind of how it looks without anything. And then from there, you would just add lighting to it. Cool, so that's how that can work. And then you could add in, I believe, one of these objects. So this is, again, a printed backdrop that does pretty much the same thing. But I believe with this one, you can add, again, PNG images to make something look more like a logo. If you want it to be in the correct aspect ratio as the actual image, all you need to do is just click on the images panel here. You just need to click on the image, and it will load it into the center just like that. And now it's the exact right proportion, so you don't have to figure that out later. So that's another way to just add that in real quick. And then from there, you can scale that up or down. Okay. And then we'll look real quick too at doing some backlighting. I believe right now backlighting, it works in pretty much all of these scenery objects, right? So once you add in a bunch of scenery objects, something like, let's do just a different shape to it, maybe something like this. All right, so we'll add that other one in after this too. Okay, so I've got some lights. If I go to my top camera view, I might be able to see this a little better. So I'm just going to put these lights that are behind it. I'm going to turn them around. So we'll go 180 degrees, and then just boost the intensity on those. And then we can play with that after. Probably a little bit too bright. I also have some lights in front of them right here, so I'm going to turn those all the way down. And then we have some stage wash lights above that. So let's just turn all this stuff down so we can kind of get a good look at all this. So if I go to my, actually, let's go ahead here. So you can see the light behind it is glowing a little bit because it's just shining behind it. And we have this transparency option right here. So as soon as this gets to be about below 90%, the transparency, you're going to start to see the light coming through the object. So if I just slowly move this down, it gets way brighter real quick. So you probably also want to adjust the color of it too. If it, you can kind of just play with the look of this to get it to be the way you want here, right? But so let's say that the object maybe isn't that bright. And if I go way down with the transparency, what's going to happen is it's turning bright just because it's basically like there's lots of little tiny bits now and it's just highlighting all that. So I need to click off of the object. And then this kind of looks a little funky right now, but it's actually showing the light hitting the drapery behind it, right? I find that somewhere up in like 70 to 80, 70 to 85 usually looks pretty good for creating like a semi-transparent look. So again, this is all the way down. I can change the color of this. Let me move this thing out of the way a bit. Change the color of the front lighting. So now this front lighting is in pink, just hitting the center. And you can see the backlighting is in white there. So if I go to this again, maybe we'll change that to blue. So that's pretty cool because now we have backlighting and front lighting on there. And again, if I select the thing, it's going to be all kind of pixelated there, but let's go really low to see what that looks like. So now there's a lot more transparency on this object, so you can see that it's still there. And if I kind of wave through, it's going to have a little bit of a shadowing effect there. Cool, so we'll leave that there. Let's add in, this is pretty fun because I think once you start lighting these stuff and these things and playing with them a little bit, it gets to be, you get some really cool looks. Let's try maybe this one. Yeah, so when you move the camera around a lot, it's going to have this little shadowing effect. So we'll play with that, but let's try this. I'm going to turn the transparency down a bit and move it back here a bit. And maybe for now, let's hide this thing and look at what we have here. I could also, let's say we make a bunch of these. What I then would maybe do is group them and then just change all of their transparency. So I think these things can kind of be hung anywhere. So we'll say we do something like this. And just going to group these together. make group. All right, and now we can adjust the transparency of all of them at once. And if we turn this down, let's see if we get a, they might be too thick, this object or something. Let's see, I haven't played with this before, so. Oh, you know what's happening is it's only changing the transparency of the back side of this, I think. Let me turn this around. Okay, this object might just not be the greatest object to experiment with this, but let's see. There's something else real quick. That's kind of cool. So anyways, a lot of these scene area objects can be modified like this. Just takes some time to play with it. And yeah, let me see if I have, let's see, any other examples. Something like this, same thing here. But yeah, plenty of stuff to play with there. I could go all day on that. So anyways, we will go ahead and stop this video here. If you want to see anything else more, like this, or just more examples, let me know, and I'll definitely make some more. I think I might make some more videos on lighting as well, because there's plenty of options with lighting, and learning more about different ways to work with all the lighting here too. So anyways, thanks for watching, and we'll